So, without any further
Calm now, wait a minute.
So Chuck's going to explain everything a tax commissioner does and then some.
I'll try. I won't be as impressive as I take, but thank you all for the opportunity to speak again. And for those that don't know, my name is Chuck Holt, and I'm running for Bartow County Tax Commissioner. I'm the only candidate running that has a job in the private sector. I work for Graybar Electric and have for 24 plus years. For those that don't know what Graybar is, it's a Fortune 500 company that sells electrical and top-down equipment. Very old company, and it's employee-owned, which makes it very unique among businesses in the United States. And like I said, I'm the only candidate running from the private side, and kind of echoing some of the ideas that were mentioned here and some of the ideas that have been mentioned in other debates. I think it's time for business ideas to be brought into government and make government work more efficiently. Not that the people that work for the government are bad or not dedicated, they are. I just think that unless you bring ideas in from the private sector, it's hard to create new ideas from what you've worked in your whole career. So I think ideas can come in and better ideas can come in. Tell you a little bit about myself. I was born in Georgia, grew up in Indiana because my parents relocated there with their company. When I finished college, I have a bachelor's degree in business management from Indiana University. I relocated back to Georgia where my roots are. My dad was born and raised here in Cartersville, played football for Cartersville, went on to play football for Tennessee. My grandmother, Lydia Paris, still lives in Emerson. She's 97 years young. And my wife, Valerie Waits, Holt now, is from Cartersville, and her parents live in Taylorsville. So we have a lot of family here, and that's why it's important to me to see Bartow County prosper. Like I said, I have a career. I'm not looking to increase my retirement with Bartow County. I'm not looking to move to the next position in Bartow County. I'm looking to provide service, ideas, and new directions for the tax department in Bartow County. Some of the duties that a tax commissioner does and why it's such an important position. They collect the revenues from property tax, they run the tag department, and they disperse those revenues back for the government and the school boards, and in this case for the municipalities in Bartow County. And that may sound like a small task, but I was talking with some of the deputy commissioners down there, and they gave me a little bit of scope of what that includes. This year they'll collect approximately $73 million worth of property tax. They'll handle approximately 110,000 tag transactions in the tag department. So I think it's important that the candidate that you select for your tax commissioner has the educational background, the work ethic, the work background, the ideas, the dedication to see that department run the right way. Those are not small numbers, and you need somebody there that can handle that task. They also take care of the homestead exemptions, and I've consulted with a fellow that used to work in Cobb County's tag department for 17 years, and he says, you know, that's a big responsibility also. You need to audit those homestead exemptions and make sure they're being used appropriately so that there's not a revenue leak there for the rest of the taxpayers that are playing by the right rules. I said, that's a very good idea. And they also levy delinquent tax, which is probably the least popular part of their job and the saddest, hardest part of their job right now, because people that are losing homes because they can't pay their taxes impacts everybody and all social standard or levels in this county, and it's a hardship, but that is part of what they have to do too. I've been asking several debates or questionnaires, what's the biggest issue facing the tax department? Well, quite frankly, it's the biggest issue facing the commissioner. It's the biggest issue facing Bartow County, the budget. And the budget impacts that department because you've seen it shrink in size from 22 people down to 18 in a year. And the 18 people that are still left there are being furloughed 12 days a year. That's a fancy way of saying they're being laid off without pay for 12 days a year, but the department's also losing their productivity. So the budget is going to be always an important component to what the tax commissioner has to work with in that department. I have some solutions for for ways to help maintain the morale in that department. And I'm going to throw it out there. I've thrown it out before. It sets me apart from the other candidates, and I want to explain it if I can, and hopefully it'll make sense. The tax commissioner receives a personal payment, a commission, for processing municipalities' taxes, Cartersville, Adairsville, and soon to be Emerson. Now that money's paid directly to the tax commissioner. It's in addition to their salary. Well, my idea with that is, and I don't see any other candidate that's echoed this idea, is that money should be used for that department. After all, they're doing the work. They should be compensated for that work. So my solution is to take that commission and use it to pay for printers in the tag department that don't work. They should work. If they can't be fixed, they should be replaced. Use the money for that. The department should be well trained. If there's a training budget, but if it's not enough, more training needs to be done, and we've got the new ad valorem tax situation facing us right square to start March of next year, and it'll require a lot of training. Use that money for training. And lastly, and I borrow this idea from a fellow who's president of the Georgia Tax Association, our officers, use it for a commission or a reward back to the people in the department. After all, for 4 years, they haven't received a merit increase. You know, they're being furloughed, which is a fancy way for saying their pay's been cut. Use it for them. They're the faces you see when you come in the department. They're the voices you talk to on the phone. They're the ones doing the work. It should be shared with them. That's an idea I haven't heard any other candidate voice, because quite frankly, it costs the taxpayers $0. It costs the tax commissioner many dollars. But it's time for leadership to step up and do the right thing for the people that they're responsible for. And one other thing I'd like to roll in there is ethics. There's been, Hayden was talking about going in and looking at the reports that we do for the state about contributions coming in and where they come from. And I'll take an oath right now, and I think there's other candidates that would do this given the opportunity. Sad to say there's one candidate that cannot. And I won't cross the line and sling mud because I'm not going to mention a name, but I will never, have never, will never, as your tax commissioner, take money from a vendor looking to do business with the tax department. It has happened already in this race. I know we need vendors that can handle the delinquent taxes. I know we need vendors that can handle moving foreclosed properties. I do not think that the tax commissioner should benefit directly or indirectly from that in campaign contributions. And I make a vow to you, each of you in this room, that'll never happen as long as I'm tax commissioner, ever. Money's important for campaigning, but that's not the kind of money you need to campaign with. So ethics are important, and keep in mind your tax commissioner collects $73 million worth of property tax and a lot of tag transactions. It's a lot of money. You need to have confidence that whoever's handling that for you is above board, transparent, and very ethical. So I say that. And again, I'm offering my service. You can find out more about me at my website, which is electchuckholt.com. I need your vote because ultimately this is a popularity contest. But it's an important contest. It's not just about how many yard signs you have, how many billboards you can buy, how much radio time you can afford. It's past that. It's past that on every level of government in our country. It's about ideas. It's about leadership. It's about the future. And I need your vote, either this week or on July 31st. I need your family's votes. I need your friends' votes. I need people you work with or just talk to. Because quite frankly, I think I'm a different kind of candidate than every other candidate that's running. And I think I can do the job that Bartow County needs to have done. So I'm asking for your vote. Or any questions?
What were you saying about homestead and the homestead exemption?
Well, I talked to my friend who was going to be the 5th candidate, actually, and we spoke, and he said, I like your ideas, I like your approach, I'm going to back you up instead of running. And he said, one thing you need to watch with the homestead exemption is run an audit on it. To make sure everybody that's collecting homestead exemption qualifies for homestead exemption. I said, that makes good sense. And there's been some other things brought out in the paper and all of that that makes good sense. You know, one of the candidates suggested we make sure all the mobile homes have their registration. You're right. And I talked to the deputy tax commissioner about that, and she says it has to do with municipalities, but we can get that fixed. We need to close the revenues loopholes where we can. I'm not a big fan of extending hours. I'm not a big fan of split billing. That could possibly be done, but with the budget constraints we're facing and we know what's coming down the line, I don't see adding more burden to the taxpayers as being the best solution. I think my ideas are short-term at best. They can be done immediately. They carry no cost to the taxpayer. They'll make the situation better. Long-term, maybe we can look at extended hours and things like that, but not until revenues increase. I mean, I just don't see that. So. Any other questions?
Anybody else have any other questions?
And no, I won't raise your taxes.
Where could we go without compromising your integrity and not getting in mudslinging to find out who is has a conflict of interest?
Well, that's a good question, and it's easy because you know, and I know.
Maybe I don't.
Well, you report the same reports that I have to report. You go to Georgia Ethics, you pull up the website. It's got on there, it's got candidates. It's got a block on there about the candidates' reports. Pull it up. It'll ask you for the name of the person and just the name. You can just key in the last name, first name. Pull it up. It'll give you the reports. You click on it, it comes up and says, do you want to view these reports? You click on the view, go to June, go to March. It doesn't matter, June's more accurate. Pull up June. It'll ask you for contributions, it'll ask you for expenditures or a summary. Go to contributions and look. And I say that not to sling mud, but the point of it is, if you can't trust someone with a campaign on a small amount of money, you're going to be electing someone to be your tax commissioner that's going to be handling the money the school board needs, the money the county needs, the money the state needs. So I think ethics are very important. And I can tell you, 3 of the candidates running have self-funded most of their campaigns, like I have.
In addition, not to plug my friends unprincipled, but BartowPolitics.com does some
The
of that for
candidate
us.
information page has a whole spreadsheet with cash on hand for March and the last disclosure plus links to all of them, so you can find them all in one place.
There you
Did
go.
everybody hear that?
BartowPolitics.com candidate information tab.
Does it do the contributions?
It's links to the last report.
Very good.
Shameless promotion.
Hey,
Shameless.
you know, hey, I'm trying to make it easy for you.
I mean, I hate to throw that out there, but
No, I think honesty and ethics is very important in who you decide to vote for. And that's why I encourage everyone to please listen to, study the candidates before you vote. If we keep voting in the same old, we're going to get the same old results that we've always gotten. Okay.